Okay. Spears down, clubs down.
We survived.
We survived it.
Oh, God.
Okay. Right. So, I got some things to watch and some skits. They were 50% off, and I got some silly voices 85% off. But I did have to wrestle it off somebody.
I managed to get some things we've played and some queer trans ladies.
Yeah.
But I did have to queue out for 8 weeks in order to get those 90% off discounts. And thinking about it in hindsight, I probably could have worked and bought them at full price, and that would have worked out better, but 90% off.
Yeah. So there's things we listen to, and some thoughts about social. Sorry, I'm wheezing a bit because someone cracked my rib while I was going for the social justice issues.
The second those doors open,
it was
it's vicious,
just monstrous. Well, I think this Black Friday we did manage to gather everything we need for Queer and Pleasant Strangers. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aris Magnet. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that podcast where two queer trans ladies have a bit of a natter about how our weeks have been and catch up on bits of media and do some silly voices and skits. How are you doing this week, Jane?
I bought nothing on Black Friday, nothing.
Neither did I.
No.
Neither of us contributed to the hellscape that is being a retail worker on Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Just F to pay respect to all of those. I worked in retail for years. We didn't have Black Friday at the time, but goodness.
Doesn't stop people from going, I've heard Black Friday is a thing and it's today. I'm going to storm your building and then get really mad that there's nothing on offer.
I imagine it's a lot worse now that it seems to have become a bigger thing in the UK.
In the last, 5 years, it's become a thing in the UK.
Yeah, it's been over a decade since I worked in retail, so
yeah.
It's okay.
I was working in retail, a little over 5 years ago. I got, I think I got 1 year where, the expectation of Black Friday being a thing was happening in the UK, and it was not pleasant.
I have so much respect for people who can still work in retail, because customers are horrible.
Customers are the worst. They're terrible. Just as a matter of notice to people listening, I don't care if you need a bottle of milk or a pint of milk or some bread. Don't go to the shops on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or Boxing Day. Whatever the day is that, you would rather be at home with your family. Do the shopping in advance and don't shop on those days so that eventually the shops will go, maybe we just shop on those days. And maybe there's people get to have an extra day with their families, not being rushed back into the hellscape of retail.
Yeah. Make it a public holiday.
Indeed, I feel so. I worked in retail during years where it was okay, well, no one has to work Christmas Day, but we do need half of you to work Boxing Day, and it's just not fun.
Oh, when I worked in retail, it was 2 months of just the busiest times of the year. we would see sales increases of 1,000%.
We would be working until I 1 year I worked beyond midnight, so it was technically Christmas Day and I was still at work.
Oh yeah,
because
I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, I had a few of those.
Because the rule was, because I was manager by the time
Yeah.
I left, the rule was we had to be set up for Boxing Day sale before we were allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't pay anyone any overtime, so the rest of my staff were like, well, you're not paying me, you can't keep me here. And I was like, you're quite right, I don't intend to. I'm going to have to be here. I would appreciate any help if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Totally understand, you don't have to. That's me asking you as a friend, not as your fucking boss. Go home.
Yeah.
And there was a few times when I was there till like 5 a.m. on Christmas Day.
It's not fun.
It's fine because I don't celebrate Christmas, but at the same time, like, it gets really fucking miserable when you're the only one there doing the thing that you know you're going to get in trouble for, and then like knowing that as of Boxing Day you have to start doing pre-count for the stock take that's going to happen sometime, probably on my birthday in January. That happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I like. Even now, if I'm going to have an anxiety dream, it will almost always involve working in that fucking shop.
I had an anxiety dream last night and involved working in a retail shop. Retail work is like
it's traumatic.
Yeah, you live with, like, I have nightmarish dreams about retail to this day.
Yeah, on the reg.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm going to have an anxiety dream, it's almost always I'm trying to put the shutter down, and every time I get it, I let one person out, other people just barge fucking in, because people did that all the time.
Yeah.
I want to go home. We should have shut 2 hours ago. Oh, look, I'm just browsing. It's okay. Well, we've taken the till out, so fuck off. Retail.
You know what's
Be super nice to retail workers.
Indeed.
Please.
You know what's thankfully not retail that we did this week?
We played some games.
We played some games. That's not retail work.
Let's do 6 minutes.
That's my great segue.
Oh, you rescued us.
So, what have you played this week, Jane?
What are you playing, stranger? I've been playing some more Stardew Valley.
Yeah, how's that going?
I'm really enjoying it again.
How deep into the game are you so far?
I think about mid autumn on my first year.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm doing all right. I think it's been nice to sort of sink back into that rhythm of. Do I need to water things today? Okay, I will water things today. Is anything ready to harvest? Okay, I will harvest. I don't really talk to anyone. Just like in real life.
You've not been doing the social aspect.
I have no interest in the interacting social aspects thing.
Going out and finding a new prospective bride.
No.
You got your cat, you've got your farm, you're all
I've
good.
got my cat. One day I'll own a horse, maybe.
Yeah.
I just...
That's the nice thing about Stardew. It does just let you potter about and maintain. It lets you maintain equilibrium.
Yeah, I can just find things down the mines and hand them into the museum.
You're not a fan of those?
Not a fan of the buzzies.
The buzzy things in the mines that
just or the weird black zombie things.
Yeah,
those are kind of an annoyance. I'm really enjoying it. It's nice to sort of potter around in that world, and I'm even getting better at the fishing. So
yay!
That's got a bit more manageable.
You seem to be doing well when I saw you doing the fishing the other day.
Yeah, I've sort of finally got the hang of it. That it's more about tappy tap than sort of hold and release.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got more into that, and it helps that I've leveled up now, so it's just less difficult. Full stop.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to do less of the fishing by virtue of being better at the fishing.
It's also nice to see a game in which you get happy and excited when there's going to be a rainy day in game.
Yeah, it's one of the few games where it's just like, thank goodness it's raining.
Hooray!
Today.
There's rain on the weather forecast. Tomorrow I will have more time to explore the mines.
Yeah, and I've participated in some of the local festival things.
Yeah.
I do some of the missions. I'm really enjoying the community centre stuff where you complete those missions. It's like nice. I have a goal. I will go and get a set of these, and something will happen.
Yeah, I will do a thing for the community.
I'll get the minecarts unlocked.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to just potter around in Stardew Valley,
Oh.
and maybe at some point I will get involved in the modding scene and see what's involved there. I hear that they've had 3 years now, I think.
Yeah.
But we have just had a huge update, apparently. Like, the day I decided to stop playing again, it's like, there's been a huge update.
You apparently picked the perfect time to jump back into it.
Apparently so. And apparently it is quite a giant update, so that's been good. What about you?
The only new thing I've been playing this week, because it's eaten up most of my gaming time for work, is Darksiders Genesis. So, just putting it out there at the start. I'm playing this for work because I got asked to play it for work. I did not give THQ Nordic money, and I don't recommend you do either, because they're not a good company.
They're not good.
But I've played the game, so I will talk about it. Plot-wise, it's really nothing special. It's really predictable. You play as 2 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Lucifer's being a naughty lad, going around hell trying to get them demons to help him out and consolidate power.
That Lucifer?
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to. Probably not anything good. Let's go kill some demons and try and track him down before he fucks things up. So you play as one of the horsemen of the apocalypse who's been in the previous games, War, who was the protagonist of the first Darksiders, and Strife, who is the 4th horseman who was not playable in any of the previous games. You look very confused.
Those aren't the horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah, in the game, I believe they're War, Death, Fury, and Strife.
Yeah.
Like, that's ignoring, like, Pestilence is I believe,
Famine.
Famine. Yeah, Here's the thing, I would love to see a game of make Pestilence an action protagonist, but I don't know.
Swarm of flies.
Yeah, I suppose so, but again, how do you separate that from, like, you've got Pestilence... Okay, Famine. How do you make Famine an action protagonist?
You like to swirly, like, colour lightning at people and then they just starve to death.
I can see ways it could be done, but I can also see how, like, a committee probably looked at that and went, that's probably not a good action hero we can put a weapon in the hands of. But yeah...
None of them come across as particularly heroic, though.
No. So, theoretically they're heroic. They are Heaven's attack dogs being sent to go murder some stuff for us, but it's good, alright, because we told you to do it, because we're Heaven, it's fine. So your 2 characters, War, if you played the first Darksiders, plays exactly the same. Big, tankish brute of a character, very melee heavy focused, light attacks, heavy attacks. You can do a big AoE to clear yourself some space if you need to. The main difference from that first one is it's sort of like a top-down isometric perspective, sort of zoomed back a bit, which all of the marketing made it seem like, it's going to be like a gameplay shift. It's going to be a bit more like a Diablo kind of game. No, this is a third-person action game that the camera was just zoomed up above. It still plays exactly the same. If you've played, say, Darksiders 3, it doesn't have that same sort of semi-open world structure that Darksiders 3 had. It's back to being like linear, isolated levels you play one after another. The other playable character is Strife, who is sort of a bit of a glass cannon. They don't have a block, they don't have particularly great HP, but they're actually, I found them a lot of fun to play comparatively, in that you play them like a twin-stick shooter, so one stick is moving you around, one is aiming where you're going to shoot.
Makes sense for that sort of perspective.
And you've got like 2 separate buttons that control shooting your gun. You can set different ammo types to each button, so you can sort of rapid switch between your ammos. You've got sort of quick fire pistol that has unlimited ammo, and then lots of special ammo types. And if you can keep a combo of like lots of consecutive hits with your gun going, you get a brief period of like your gun gets really powered up and either does a lot more damage or does a different type of damage. Like, trying to think of some good examples. One of them is like lightning ammo, and when you get your combo going, it becomes like it'll arc between lots and lots of enemies and sort of like damage lots of things at once, for example.
Shiny.
Yeah. So, in terms of the core gameplay, it was... when it was good, it was reasonably fun to play. It was a sort of mindless, bash your way through hordes of enemies, third-person action game. If you're playing in single player, you can swap between those 2 characters pretty much whenever you want without any penalty. There's like 2 boss fights I can think of and a couple of puzzle situations where it's like, you need this ability that this character has. But largely, if like me, you were enjoying playing it as a twin-stick shooter, you can sort of do that unhindered. I did have some problems with the camera perspective in that largely zoomed out top-down camera was a positive. It meant that you had a better ability to see what was coming on all sides. because the Darksiders of games have always been a little bit focused on just throwing lots of enemies at you, it generally gave you better visibility and let you handle that a bit better.
Yeah.
But they did not really design their levels particularly well with their camera perspective in mind. There were sometimes situations where there would be objects in the world that obscured your vision, which shouldn't happen in a game with a set camera perspective. No. So let's say there's a big tree, and it's quite close to the front of the screen, and therefore you can't see your character when it's blocking your view of them.
Right.
Your character will still be visible, but it'll be like a neon blue shadow. So it's like, that's where my character is behind that object. Except the enemies don't do that.
Oh.
So if you're behind a big obstacle, you can see where you are, but you can't see where any of the enemies are. So you're like, okay, let's sort of kite them all over.
Which is weird because your enemy, your character would be able to see them because they're on the same level.
Exactly. It's not like they're obscured from the character's view. Yeah, it's weird. So you had to sort of like trick them into going over to a corner of the environment so that like you could see them occasionally. Also, the game's kind of broken. At least in, like, having played it a few days ahead of release for review. I can't, there might be patches. I can't talk about those because that's not what I played. There are frequent spots where you can just get stuck in geometry, impossible to escape.
Are you telling me about this with the co-op?
I'll get to that co-op example in a second because it's great. But the biggest problem with that is if you get stuck in geometry, there's no way to reload your last checkpoint in a level. There's no way to deliberately die so that you respawn at your last checkpoint. And levels are pretty lengthy. We're talking 45 to 60 minutes some levels. So, if you're, like me, 40 plus minutes into a level and you get stuck in a wall, you can exit the level entirely and start over from scratch and replay 40 minutes of game because you got stuck in a wall.
Well, that can fuck right off.
Yeah, so I'll get onto that co-op example. So, you can play the game in co-op, one of you playing as War, one of you playing as Strife. That's kind of broken as well. You're supposed to be able to do a button combo to switch who's controlling who. That's just broken. You can request to switch characters, and the other person will go, yes, I accept. And the other person actually just sends a new request. You try to accept theirs, and now you're sending a request. That's just broken. But,
Yay.
I was trying to push a lever into a wall. So I walk up to the lever, just press a button, pushes into the wall, fine. And then suddenly I glitch into the wall.
Ooh.
I did a single button press as I was supposed to, and an animation played out, and then I was stuck in a wall.
Yay!
I had levels where there was one level where I walked up to the arena where the boss fight was, and I knew that's where it was because I'd done the boss fight a couple of times, kept respawning back at the checkpoint, and this time when I respawned back at the checkpoint, there's a spike wall stopping me entering the boss fight arena. And all of these audio cues are playing as if the boss fight's already started, and I'm being chastised for not hurrying up and killing the boss already. But I'm like, I can't see the boss in there doing anything. I can't get in there.
Wow.
Just, the boss fight seemingly has triggered while I'm outside, and the thing that's designed to stop you leaving the boss fight has stopped me entering.
Is it one of those games that just doesn't like being played for too long?
Maybe, I don't know, but that instance happened maybe an hour and a half into a play session. It wasn't hugely long in.
Yeah.
But I've been going back and forth on how I feel about this game, and my feelings have ended up really sort of on the positive side of mediocre, but
a ringing endorsement there from Laura K. Dale.
There are just some weird things about it that stop it being an easy recommendation. When it's going well, it is quite fun to beat stuff up. There is quite a satisfying gameplay loop there at times. But right near the end of the game, and this is not a spoilery thing, I don't think anyone would consider this a spoiler. There is an out-of-context line of dialogue right before the final boss fight where one of the characters says, Do you ever get tired of just mindlessly mowing down hordes and hordes of enemies? I don't have the quote exactly in front of me, but it was something to that effect. And I don't know whether I would say I got bored of it necessarily, but I got less and less interested in putting up with the game's nonsense in order to be able to do that. Like, I was getting bored of having to repeat levels, of things not loading incorrectly. I was getting bored of the game constantly making weird references to the two horsemen who weren't there, and I couldn't tell if they were like trying to be apologetic they hadn't given 2 extra playable characters or trying to set up a sequel they wanted to make, but like it was just all... Oh, I haven't even talked about the puzzle design, and there is some puzzle design in the way that Darksiders games always like to go, well, like a Zelda, we've got overworld puzzles. They're never anything even vaguely interesting. The platforming is, here are some weird, like, square cylinder poles that you jump between, and that's platforming. And the puzzles usually boil down to, I have the ability to make portals where these swirly marks are. If I find the 2 swirly marks, I'll shoot a portal on each, and then whichever one I can get to, I'll either jump through it, or put a hand through it, and that will solve the puzzle. Like, it's not like, say, a Portal game where you have infinite choices and you've got to work it out. No, it's like, here are the 2 points, put the portals here. They might have already existed, you just had to go, that's a portal point, and that's a portal point. It's not
very good.
When I was enjoying the game, there was fun to be found. I'm not going to say that this game is... I'm not going to say it's on the bad side of mediocre. Like, I had fun with it at times, but it's buggy and repetitive and just not... It's just not great. I would be hard-pressed to recommend it, but if, let's say you saw it for £1 in a for example, let's say it's in a Humble Bundle at some point in the future.
Okay.
You know, maybe pick it up and play it if you've got it in a bundle or something.
And then set the slider so that none of the money goes to the developer.
Yeah, but like, if you had the game, I'd say, sure, give it a play. There is some fun action gameplay to be found here and there in it. It's not the kind of game I'd say just don't even bother touching it if you've got it, but I would struggle to recommend it as a full-priced release that is happening, like, now.
Briefly on the subject of Humble Bundle, you can select mermaids as your charity of choice.
Oh, heck.
Just a thing for people who might not know that.
Heck. What about you? What have you been playing this week?
I played a little bit of Tetris Effect.
Yeah, you stuck
got the PSVR out again.
The VR back on.
Well, it was out again, so I was like, I'm going to play some of that Tetris I like.
Is that Tetris, all of it is set to music and has fancy visuals and you can do it in VR?
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Yeah, how'd you get on with it?
When I first started, I was super focused on playing Tetris in it.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten, like, the real joy of that game is just looking at the environments and experiencing that and the music and like, just enjoying the whole thing rather than just going and playing Tetris.
Yeah. But, like, there is some joy to be found in just playing it as Tetris because, like, I don't know if it's the refresh rate on it or the fact
I think it's got really low latency or something.
Yeah, it's got low latency, but also, like, you've shut out the rest of your senses. It's really easy to just focus in and, like, I play better Tetris in VR than I do outside
100%.
of VR. And there is a joy to that.
Yeah.
But,
I played 2D Tetris Effect and I didn't enjoy it really at all.
Yeah, the joy of it is being in the Tetris zone.
Immersed, and the music's beautiful, especially like that first track. Was it Yours Forever?
Yeah.
I think the track's called.
Even if you never get round to playing Tetris Effect, look up the Tetris Effect soundtrack. It's fantastic. It's so good.
It really is. They did a great job.
It's one of like a handful of games that I think really do a good job of balancing music and gameplay. Like, there's that. I would currently put Sayonara Wild Hearts up with that. Like, there's a Beat Saber is in there. Yeah. I'm glad that this is becoming more of a genre we're getting.
Yeah.
Like, really cool games that go like, this needs the music.
Mm-hmm. But the others?
Only other thing I've been playing is Pokemon, obviously.
Pokemon.
I'm continuing to play that. I now have 7 shiny Pokemon. I have more than enough to have a full team if I wanted to.
Well, happens. Yeah,
I'm trying to think what I've got. I've got a crab with a big rock on its back that lives in a boulder. I've got Boulder, which is a big sort of pile of angry-looking spiky rocks with some little sort of purple gems coming out of it.
I feel you, Boulder friend.
I've got little corgi with the butt on its heart, the heart on its butt.
Bigger corgi.
I've got grown-up doggo, that's electric doggo. I've got a Mimikyu. Yay! It's sort of grey and black and white, and it's adorable. And I have like I guess it's like a pond skater, just a really big angry pond skater.
Mm.
But it's got like purple legs now. So I've continued my oh no, I have one more. I have a little dragon dog that has like a pink heart scale on its head.
Oh,
Yeah. You're looking at Shiny Mimikyu.
I was looking at Shiny Mimikyu.
He's cute, right?
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm continuing to just one thing that's been really nice about shiny hunting in this has been it's really nice that I never feel like I'm losing any progress.
Mm.
I feel like as long as any time I start an encounter with something, I just knock it out. Why not? Never run away, just keep knocking things out. I'm like, not only am I increasing the shiny odds of the thing I'm actively hunting, passively just over time I'm increasing my odds on other things. Like, I'm currently hunting for a shiny Wooloo, and I'm like 700 Wooloo deep. But, in that same time, I think I've knocked out over 100 of the little bird thing that's in Route 1. I think I've knocked out at least 100 of the squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I decide to shiny hunt them in the future, I'm already 100 deep. I've just by... Oops, I ran into it, might as well knock it out. It's as fast as running away at this point.
Mm.
Which has been nice. I feel the overall task feels less daunting. Which is really nice.
Yay.
You played anything else?
We played a thing together. We played some more Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, you've been playing your new deck.
I got a new deck. I got a new red deck. It's the closest deck to a modern deck I've got. It's made entirely out of Core 20 and Ravnica Allegiance cards.
Tell us about what that deck do.
It cost less than a tenner because it's almost entirely commons. It's got 4 instances of active treason, 4 instances of goat nap for dealing with I have no creatures, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a very fast acting, try and get a quick win deck.
It's an aggro deck. It's a lot of direct damage and holding on as long as possible to just wreck shit.
It's lots of stuff that you can blow up to do damage, lots of direct damage, lots of stealing my big damage dealers to try and chip away some faster.
Yeah.
It's one of those... playing against it, you cannot think in terms of like the long game. You have to go, where can I chip some health off you right now before you take me out?
While I build a wall of my own.
That's it. It's even the wall's not going to protect hugely. It's what... there's a lot of risk taking to like make sure you're within striking distance when I get a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you seem to be playing very differently against that deck.
I was very willing to just like take the damage so that I kept having a wall.
Yeah.
Like I was playing on the thought of as long as I have at least 1 point left, it's fine to play aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you had about a 50%
We played 6
win-loss
games,
rate.
I won 4 of them.
Yeah, you had a slightly better than average win rate, but it's one of those...
I finally crushed the green deck I made.
Yeah, you did good. I'm having to learn to adapt how I play the green deck to not get trounced. Like, one thing I've learned is don't put out the big things because you can turn them back on me pretty frequently.
Unless you're going to put them out in pairs so they can deal with each other.
Yes, exactly. Don't put out the thing that gets bigger and bigger over time and has trample and then a bunch of weenies, because then you can basically just get a direct line to my life.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And it was interesting, like, ooh, this isn't a deck I've tried against, let's try some new strategies.
For me, it was like, I am tired of getting rinsed by my own deck.
I can play with a different deck if you like.
You play with whichever deck you want, my lovely.
It's just the one I know and I like it. I'm sorry I did the good one.
It's fine. I made the deck. I improved the deck. I've thought of ways I could improve it further.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Don't know. I mean, they're all my decks, so I mean, technically, I could attempt to have a go with them at any time. But like, I play against it, and I sit there thinking, well, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that, maybe that would be a thing.
Feel free to tweak it whenever you feel like.
Got ya. I think that's everything I've played.
I think that's everything I've played.
Well then.
It's on for this.
Okay, now I've got lots of blankets here in the box. Do you want me to help you just get over into the... Okay, in the box. There we go. We've got stuffy for you there. Tuck you right in. Get right in. Don't worry. Don't worry, you won't have to do any of the family meals or anything like that. You don't have to buy anything for anyone. We're just going to tuck you in, okay? Don't have to worry about the fact there's not much sun at the moment. We're going to tuck you in the box. Put you in the box, pump some air holes in it. There'll be snacks. And we'll see you in the spring when it's all nice and warm again, okay? All tucked in.
I just need sunshine.
Sunshine. Okay, well, we can get you a sunshine bulb to keep in the box with you. We're just going to tuck you in there and you'll be all nice. You can ride out all the wintry bits and you won't have to deal with any of those bits, okay? Okay. Keep tight.
Oh, finally. It's cold enough. I think it's time.
We're going to precipitate.
Yeah, more than precipitate. I think we're going to be snowflakes. I don't think we're going to be raindrops this time. I mean, we're still going to fall from the sky and be water, but we're going to fall slowly.
And we'll be crystal and all floaty.
We'll glisten in the light.
Oh, so glistening.
What do you hope you get made into?
Oh, just a beautiful crystal formation. A beautiful and unique crystal formation.
Well, see, that's going to be beautiful by itself, but I hope when I reach the ground, I'll become maybe part of a snowball in a snowball fight. Or a bit of a snowman, maybe.
I'd like to be on a field, like a pristine, just untouched, just a white, just glistening slightly in the sunlight.
Maybe one of those fields where someone just gets to take that first one step.
Maybe like a foxhole, just like one step in the snow and be like, it's too cold. And then there will just be one adorable paw print in the snow.
Maybe I can be the really lucky bit that lands on a beach. And then there will be a coating of snow over the sand, and you could step on the snow, and then there'd be a sand print underneath.
And be like place that people associated with hot weather and all the cold weather at the same place.
Wait! Oh no!
What?
Oh no!
What? Is that South England?
It's South England. You know what that means?
We're gonna be sludge.
We're gonna be sludge.
Oh.
Well, what have you watched this week?
What a shit.
What a shit.
Well, we watched some things together.
Yeah, we finished.
We watched.
Oh yeah, what were you going to go to?
Were you going to go with the dark and
Yeah, I was going to
crystal?
say we finished the Dark Crystal. Was that where you were going to go?
No,
Ah,
but it's fine. We'll go with Dark and Crystal.
we finished,
Dark and Crystal.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Very dramatic final couple of episodes.
Yeah.
I do not know. I feel like they're planning for another series, but I also don't know where you take another series of this in the
Where
space
can you
they've
squeeze
got.
it in?
Yeah, where can they squeeze more plot in without treading on the toes of the movie?
It was really good. It was really sweet. And then we watched the making of.
Yeah,
Which was also really good.
That was really pleasant.
Ryan Froud looked good for his age.
I know, right? I would not have pegged him at his current
72,
age.
I think he is.
One thing that was really nice in that was watching all of the
family members.
yeah, the family members of say the Henson family
the
members.
Frouds and the Hensons.
The
It's
Frouds
just
and
like,
the Hensons.
yay!
Basically, like the kids of the people who started these companies going, yeah, no, well, we all learned from our parents, and here's how we're trying to keep their vision of these things alive. And I'm like, that was nice.
I'm glad they didn't go with a part CG version.
Oh god, I'm glad that Netflix was like, don't worry about the money. We know what you actually want to do. How much would it be to make the puppet version you want to make? Don't sell us this cheapo version that feels like what you can budget.
Yeah.
Let's do it proper.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I remember as a kid watching the making of Labyrinth, like all the behind the scenes stuff for that, and it was just as magical.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of really interesting stuff. Like particularly, I really enjoyed finding out about the person behind the puppets doing puppets.
Yes. Because that's the person that does all the mini puppets on
Yeah.
YouTube. Those tiny puppets are amazing.
Yes. Oh goodness. The sheer amount of detail that went into making that show is impressive.
Yeah, but I don't think they could have done. They couldn't have made a proper successor to that
Yeah.
without doing it the way they did, and I think like they're saying that like it should be pretty seamless to watch that and then watch the original movie. I don't know how true that is, but I would like to watch the movie
I
again.
feel
soon.
like that's the case. I think it's pretty faithful. Heck.
Yeah. Got any others?
We watched some other stuff together.
We
We
did.
started watching a new show together
We did.
in the last couple of days.
We did.
Living with Yourself.
Too many ruds. Too many ruds.
Yeah, this is a Netflix show, like 20-minute episodes with multiple characters played by Paul Rudd.
Yes.
Paul Rudd plays two people.
Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd in Too Many Ruds.
I think we can talk about episode 1's first 20-minute plot.
I think we talk about the premise of the show.
The premise of the show is Paul Rudd's life isn't going very well.
Not the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, and he's clearly battling with depression and some anger issues, and he doesn't know how to sort his life out. So, rather than put in the hard work and introspection required to sort your life out, he goes to a weird magical spa he's been told about, where people they come out of it just like suddenly really successful
Filled
and
with
confident.
joie de
And,
vivre.
yeah, just living their best lives.
Yeah, just seeing the world with fresh eyes.
So he goes to super sketchy spa that
Gives them 50 grand.
gives him 50 grand of like him and his partner's like fertility savings.
And then wakes up in a bag in the woods.
Yeah, they mumble some nonsense about editing your genetics, and he wakes up buried in a shallow grave in the woods in a plastic bag.
Yeah, and then when he gets home, there is another him.
Yeah, there is a second Paul Rudd, who seems to have life much more under control than him
Yeah.
right now. And antics ensue. There are now two Paul Rudds. How'd you deal with
Too many runs.
too many Rudds?
I like the fact that like a lot of the episodes are like, hey, this thing happened. But here's it from this character's
Yeah.
perspective. But here's it from this character's perspective.
Yeah, like every episode tends to start with, okay, that thing you saw in the last episode, we're going to spend the first half showing you that from the other character's perspective, and then progress the plot forward, and then next episode will start with that plot progression from the other side, and then progress the plot further. It's a really nicely paced back and forth.
Yeah, and I love shows like that. There was something years ago that like Channel 4 did over like I think it was like 3 nights.
Yeah.
And it was all of the characters interacted. We're going to show you basically 5 different stories, and they will all pull together.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting show, like really intricate, but like
Yeah.
it wasn't the greatest story in the world. But like the idea was great. The filming of it was great and everything else. But like it didn't quite hit. This has been way more like.
I've always been a fan of shows that, if they can pull this off well, that have one actor or actress playing multiple characters, interacting with each other in the same scene, and make it a seamless thing, and make them feel like different, distinct people, but not so distinct that it doesn't feel like they're meant to be connected to each other.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of almost characterizing the two Rudds.
Yeah, I think
because original Rudd has this sort of slightly washed out, sad tone about him.
Yeah.
He's more sort of
he's
haggard looking.
Yeah, he's sort of like run down, depressed, emotionally wrung out writer.
Yeah.
Whereas new Paul Rudd, I think, is more like his character, the dad in Ant-Man, where he's just like, I've got all these bags of tricks in me.
Yeah, but also like his skin tone is like higher saturation.
Well, it's things like
the clothes he wears are like more colourful.
Original Rudd, like, he sits a lot more like hunched
He's more
forward.
hunched. He wears
He's-
more sort of browns and beiges,
They-
whereas the other one wears like blue shirts quite a lot.
Yeah, I think that this does probably the best job I've seen since something like Sense8, which was another show that
I still haven't watched that.
it's really good, well worth watching. It's another show where one person plays multiple roles, multiple people who are clones of each other,
Oh yeah.
but have all sort of lived different lives and ended up as different sort of versions of this person. Yeah, I think the biggest credit I can give this is that we got to the end of that first episode, and I had that moment of, oh shit, that was both Paul Rudd. And, like, it didn't happen until the credits happened, and it was, like, played by Paul Rudd, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, they were both the same person.
Like, there's that scene in the first episode where they're both sat at a table together, arguing with the people in the spa, and I completely forgot that was the same person acting against themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really talented.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do. I'm multiple takes, like, setting
I would assume
camera pans and stuff.
like the camera for any stationary shots, obviously nice and easy, but for moving shots, probably the camera is moving on like an automated thing.
Yeah, I haven't noticed it doing like a lot of that. Like, it's let's do the easiest thing. It's the most static shot
There's
it can
been a
be.
lot of like moving shots, and again, I have to assume it's like some kind of mechanical. We can take the same shot multiple times.
If not mechanical, then I suppose the other option would be that they're
Green screening one of them, maybe?
Well, I was going to say taking like a much larger shot and then digitally panning.
Yeah, I suppose so. But however they're doing it,
They've done a good job.
they're making it really seamless.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to escalate in the ways it has as early as it has.
Yeah.
Like, some of the things I thought would be like season 1 cliffhangers are like 4 episodes in.
When you go to the bathroom, don't look.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
And also, line of the episode from the last episode we watched. When life gives you lemons, try anal.
Oh goodness.
We watched another thing.
Yeah, do you wanna kick this one off?
We watched the first season of Psyche K.
Yes, we did. Which is a show that like I knew nothing about other than a couple of my friends have been enjoying it recently. It's very fast paced.
It's Psychic Deadpool.
Yeah. Well, it's somewhat like something like One Punch Man, but like faster paced in that it's a very it's like a sketch format almost anime like 7-minute sketches made into a 20-minute episode.
Yeah, it feels like it should be like part of some other ensemble show. Like, what happened to Psyche K this week?
Yeah, so basically, Kid is born with psychic powers, and the list of powers he's got, like...
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's thrown around basically whenever they need a new weird, ultra-specific superpower for him to have for this sort of jokey sketch.
I can
They
do
give him
psychic photography.
Yeah, like... his psychic powers allow him to, like, change the very DNA of people.
Like, the whole human race.
Like, yeah, so one example was, like, he didn't want people to think his colourful hair was weird. So,
he has
as a
bright pink hair.
so as a child, he accidentally made it so that colourful hair wasn't weird by changing the human genome so that people being born with colourful hair was just a thing that happened.
People have purple hair or green hair or blue hair. It
Yeah.
just happens now.
It's so... They play so fast and loose with his set of powers in order to do really weird, funny things with it.
Yeah, it's a really odd show.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the series we got to watch.
Yeah.
It's the only one that was dubbed.
And we weren't in the mood to watch subtitles.
No, because we were half playing other games.
Yeah, but like, the season we got, it was pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed most of the ensemble cast of characters that are around.
Yeah.
You've got woman who thinks she's perfect and amazing in every way.
She glows. She literally glows.
She literally glows, and she's just really pissed off that that Psyche's not interested in her. And it's like, I can read your mind.
I know you're awful.
I know that you're actually a kind of terrible, conceited person. No. You've got the one person whose mind Psyche can't read.
Yeah, you've got like just other kids at school who just sort of. like the slightly troublesome one, or like the new rich kid that turns up.
Yeah, and basically Psyche's just like, I really can't be asked with any of this, but I've accidentally ended up with friends. I don't know how I did that.
Yeah, and he's constantly trying to sort of, because he's super intelligent, so he could ace all of the tests, but he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to stand out.
So
Yeah.
he deliberately comes like dead middle of everything.
Yeah, it's a really interesting show.
It is an interesting show.
I was impressed that they managed to make the gag feel like consistently amusing and fresh for that many back-to-back bits.
Yeah. Also, like the fact that it does that, Psyche's got that like media awareness sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who's this? Oh, it's someone from the manga that never made it into the show.
Yes,
I guess
so-
their character didn't work.
Yeah, he's I guess aware of the fact that his story was first a manga, but also there is a parody of his manga that exists in his world.
Yes.
Like, not his manga, but just like a manga about someone suspiciously like him.
Yeah.
Like, there's the video game that's definitely not about Psyche K. What is it? It's Psycho, the Bizarre Life of Psycho,
Something.
or something like that. Yeah, if you're looking for something that's just like very fast-paced, go, silly sketches about a cartoon psychic,
Yeah.
you could do worse than this, definitely.
The whole family that is all the same character model with different scars.
Oh, yes,
Like-
yes.
I feel that's like a trope in some anime, because
I-
I've seen it in
yeah.
other things.
I find the parents fascinating who have been aware of his psychic power since day one and use it to do things like we want to move furniture around the house.
Yeah.
Just like, the dad who I don't understand what his job is. Like, he's a manga artist, but they keep referencing him as licking shoes.
He licks shoes for a living, apparently. You don't
He's
know
a
how
boot-
many
he's a
shoes.
bootlicker.
He is literally a bootlicker. But also he works in manga publishing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a weird show.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, was it Cognac? Was the
Oh yeah,
the
Cognac Publishing. But like, they're aware of like actual publishing companies and things exist.
Yeah.
Like Shonen Jump keeps I assume the manga was published in Shonen Jump, I would guess, because they keep referencing it, but who knows?
Whomst knows? Yeah, I think that's everything I've watched. You got
Yeah.
any others?
Yeah, I went and saw a film this week.
Ooh.
I went and saw an anime film in the cinema called Promare, which is by what's the company called? So it's an anime film that's animated by Studio Trigger, who are notable for being like some of the most visually impressive anime animators there are. Like, anytime Studio Trigger works on something, it's usually a case to go, even if I don't care about the plot, this is going to be visually stunning and I should probably give it a look. The plot of Promare is basically, on Earth, imagine if one day a bunch of people discovered they had the power to control fire, but this happened because they all sort of started to catch fire spontaneously, and this caused some problems, understandably.
That sounds traumatic.
Yeah, X-Men mutants, but everyone has fire powers, and the world panics and goes a little bit, let's lock all these people away because they all caught fire all of a sudden, and that seems dangerous. You've got some groups of people who have these powers and use them to set buildings on fire. So our protagonists are basically mech-powered firefighters who run around in mechs trying to stop these people who are setting fires everywhere.
I saw the trailer, it looked pretty badass.
Yeah, if nothing else, go watch a trailer for this. It's like beautifully animated neon, like, chaos. There is just so much happening. For the whole 90-minute runtime of the film, it is just really visually intense. I am so glad I went and saw it in a cinema, because it's one of those films, like something like, say, Gravity, that, like, really benefits from the spectacle of getting to see it on a big screen. I was really impressed with this film. It tackled, usually through like metaphor or symbolism, but sometimes more directly, a lot of very relevant modern topics that I I was impressed to see tackled as well as they were. Things like labelling entire groups of people as terrorists based on the actions of few. So things like immigration raids and ICE raids. Tackled issues like police crackdowns on minority groups. It tackles some pretty serious stuff pretty deftly for a film that is as sort of chaotic and action-filled as it is. Like, it does not take... Probably within the first 20 minutes of this film, it's like, hey, maybe the people in power are bad, huh? Like, it doesn't waste any time at going hard on a message of people in power. Just because they say something or something is legal doesn't mean it's moral. Maybe question the people in power sometimes. I'm like, it's always nice to have a good one of those narratives. Yeah. It was 90 minutes that I walked out of, and me and the friends I went to see it with, for the probably 15-20 minutes that we were all, like, walking to head back to the station, all of us were just, like, frantically discussing all of our various thoughts about it. It gave us lots and lots of things to think about, which was really nice. And even when it was just anime nonsense, I was like, I don't care if I understand what's happening right now. This is amazing to see. This is a visual treat.
Nice.
So yeah, did you watch anything else?
No, that's all I watched.
Well, the only other thing I've been watching, I have it up on my second monitor still,
Ooh.
is I've been watching...
I recognise them from MCM Comic Con.
Yeah, I've been rewatching Haikyuu, which is a volleyball sports anime. Because season 1 is on Netflix and it's dubbed, which means that I can watch it while I'm working. Because I can just sort of go off of hearing. I really like sports anime. I don't really like sports themselves to watch on TV. Like, I would never care about watching just a volleyball match, I don't think. But
Gotta put some drama in.
you gotta put some drama into it. So, the plot of most sports animes boils down to the same thing as Haikyuu's plot, which is the protagonist doesn't really care about being the best at their particular sport. They only really care about being good at the sport, in so much as it lets them do that sport more. So, like, in Free, the swimming anime, the person just wants to have time swimming in the swimming pool, and the only swimming pool is the school one, and only people on the swimming team get to use it. So, and it turns out he's really good, but he doesn't actually care about it. They're like, oh, can you do this event and this event? He's like, I just want to do freestyle. I just want splish splash.
I want to do a splishy.
I want to do splishy. In Haikyuu, it's a very similar thing. The main character doesn't really care if he wins. He only wants to be good because the players who are the best get to spend more time on the court and get to play more. And that's just like a really sweet, wholesome motivation. It's just, I want to be good enough that I get to keep doing the thing I love. And that's really sweet. Haikyuu in particular I really like, because it's got... The dynamic between the two primary characters is really sweet over the first couple of seasons. You basically have one character who is short, which in volleyball is not usually a good thing, but he has his idol who was a short volleyball player who made up for it with really big jumps, and he just wants to be like him. And he's not particularly skilled or refined, but he's got the raw, like, speed and energy behind him that, like, if someone else could help him work, he'd be great. And then you've got stuck-up person who is technically really proficient, but pushed everyone away from him in his previous team because he just kept, like, shouting at them for not being good enough, and no one wanted to play with him. Didn't matter that he was the best player around, no one wanted to play with him. But you put the two together, and the one who is really harsh starts to soften as a person and learns that he needs to be part of a team, and the person who has all that sort of raw skill but not the precision to make it work has someone that can, like, work with them, and they make a really good double team, and it's really nice to just watch them form as a pair, and they both get to play more volleyball because they're good friends.
Yay.
And it's just very sweet.
Oh, very sweet.
I really like these dynamics of basically just, here's a bunch of high-stakes drama from people who just want to be friends so they can keep playing their sport. You're giving me a hug.
Yeah. Very adorable.
Did I do the thing where I get overexcited about a thing?
There's no such thing as overexcited.
I got excited
You
about it enough that
enthused and I loved it.
I really like sports anime.
I like when you enthuse.
Yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to show you one of these.
Okay. Like I said, I've not watched a lot of anime.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched Akira and Aratsuki Doshi and some the like Studio Ghibli stuff, but like that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, at some point I will introduce you when we get through our backlog of media
Mm-hmm.
to some of me animes I like.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well then, time for this.
Time for this.
Laura, we've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
This week's sponsor, well, I don't know if you know, it's nearly UDP.
Unicorn Dance Party.
It is nearly the
coming.
Unicorn Dance Party.
That time of year when we
We celebrate the spirit of winter being kicked in the nuts
Yeah.
by the great spirit of the forest, the unicorn.
indeed bringing winter to an end and summer back on its way.
Exactly.
Yes, and I must say, I'm glad that it's nearly UDP, but I feel so underprepared for UDP, and I hope that our sponsor might have something to do with
It's
that.
funny you say that.
They might help me prepare in some way.
It's funny you say that, because if you need a one-stop shop for rave lights and snuggly blankets and speakers and junk food and stuffies and like unicorn horns that you put on your head,
Yeah,
or like a big onesie that's like a unicorn,
or
some
unicorn
glow
like hobby
sticks,
horses.
unicorn hobby horses.
Basically, all of our UDP supplies.
all of the things, like almost all of the UDP spies. You know, all of the
all of the legitimate and
all of the
over the
legitimate
counter.
all of the over-the-counter UDP supplies are available from the UDP-atorium.
Oh wow! Tell me more.
It's the UDP-atorium. They've got your fairy lights, your fog machines, if you want to go really in there.
Yeah.
They've got all sorts of music available for download. They've got costumes and colourful things. They've got cake. Tasty cake.
They got stuffing.
They've got
Oh.
they got like stuffing sandwiches. They got stuffing delivery stuffing. Do you just want some stuffing delivered?
Please.
Do you want like imagine a stuffing donut, but instead of like jam inside, it's got like really thick gravy.
Oh. And this is the UDP.
This is the UDP-atorium.
Oh goodness.
You could head over there right now and get 35% off your first order. Just head on over to udpatorium.lol.net and enter the code QandPS96?
96.
95 or 96?
Somewhere in that range.
One of those two codes will probably work.
Try both. We'll ask that they make both codes valid.
Yeah. and you can do that. You can get all of the stuff. So head on over to UDP-atorium and get some fairy lights or a fog machine or some cake.
And I'm sure you can get those other bits of UDP stuff if you just ask
Ask
quietly.
behind the counter.
Ask behind the counter. Go. You got the good UDP supplies. You got any
trimming?
any other bits?
Got any trimming? Inside the boardroom of Electronic Active Softworks.
Hi. How's the primary gifting period been going for you?
It's been going great. We've got all of the interns working overtime to sell all of the pieces of crap we've had them knocking together all year.
Who cares if they don't see their families at the primary gifting period, so long as the gifts see some families during the primary gifting period.
Exactly. In fact, most of our interns now actually have to sign their families over to us as part of their
Well, I
contract.
mean, it's only a fair deal if you want a job in this economy.
Right, exactly. I mean, like...
Obviously we didn't have to sign our families over, but,
No, I mean, we don't have families.
yeah.
We don't care about other people, right?
So, what's on the agenda today?
Well, we have recently come into some new business.
Yeah, I'm listening.
We have acquired the names
Oh.
of
some very big franchises.
Tell me some of these names.
Yeah, we got that the Chrono Slashers game, you know the
Yeah,
one?
yeah. We got a bunch of those at the
A bunch
moment.
of that generation of thing. People
Yeah.
like, you know how like nostalgia is a big thing.
Yeah.
We've bought all the nostalgia,
So yeah, everyone wants to play a new version of that thing they played when they were like 14.
or at least they think they do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's the important thing. They think they do, and they're willing to pay for
Oh,
that.
exactly. They hope that if they play a thing they played when they were 14, it'll make them feel the happiness they had back then and not the depression they have now.
Yeah, because they have to think about the world and stuff now.
Ugh.
Back when, the only environmental message was like Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Even then, that was a bit of a stretch. Whoa.
Indeed, like, they were so far removed from that. That didn't really apply to them. That was just a cartoon series. Now it is actually very much a present issue for them. So we're gonna play on all of that nostalgia by just releasing some shit that we've just literally cobbled together, squashed together, painted over in the bright colors that they remember, but
So you're saying take those shitty side projects that we didn't know what to do with and
Yeah.
just stick that name on them.
yeah, imagine it like we cut out a little paper mask for our old project
Yeah,
to wear, and it's like, hey, I'm Chrono Slicer now. You remember that? Me, that guy.
That's
Was
me.
there a monkey in there?
I don't know. There is now.
There is now. There's a monkey in there. People like monkeys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're gonna take all of the things they loved. We're gonna, use the name of those things, suggestions of those things. Lots of very, very fast cuts on our advertising.
See, I was gonna highlight what I thought was a problem with
Yeah.
this, which is we do this once, they're not gonna buy the sequel to Chrono Slices. But I think I've got a way around this.
Sure.
We just buy more names and make more crap. Because, they might not buy the next Chrono Slicers, but they'll probably buy the next thing that we buy the nostalgic name of.
Oh, but there's something else.
Oh, yes?
We buy up so many of these names that we churn out one of these a year. In 10 years, we can go right back and say, hey, we might not have done so before. Look at us, humble, humble, humble. We may have made mistakes in the past, but in the last decade, we've learned. And we're going to give it another try. We even got the guy who used to clean the floors at the company when they made the good version of this. He's still on board with us, and that's why it's gonna be great.
You are a fucking genius.
I know. So, what have you listened to?
Not a huge amount this week.
No?
I've listened to a few new songs. I
New
did that thing
songs?
where I found some new music to listen to.
Good music.
Yeah, so I listened to a track called Scratched Out by a band called The Matches. It's a song about procrastinating malaise, that sort of procrastinating malaise that can set in when you're fighting depression, that sort of feeling like you're doing nothing with your time and not sure how to shake out of it. Sort of feeling like you've forgotten how to be you a little bit, if that makes sense. With interesting lyrical ground. In terms of the sound of music, it's acoustic guitar with played quite aggressively with a sort of ambient space sounding synth underneath it.
Ooh.
And some sort of raw, slightly pain shouty vocals.
Mm.
The vocal pacing is very much like poetry. It's got a very sort of deliberate, short, poetic rhythm to it. It's a really interesting track. What about you? What have you listened to?
Well, the Melodica Brothers put out a new Way Too Happy version.
Oh, yes.
They did Do Hast.
They-
It's the most jolly thing I can
It was a
imagine.
very, very jolly cover
It's
of Du
so
Hast.
sweet and bouncy.
Du Hast.
Do Hast. Do Hast me.
Yeah, that was something.
It was really jolly and sweet.
Yeah.
I love their Way Too Happy versions. Like, I think Lonely Day was another one they did a happy
Oh,
mission.
that one was good.
Yeah, I think that was it. What about you? Got any others?
Yeah, I got around to listening to that one shot, The Adventure Zone Dadlands.
That was really funny.
Oh, I loved that. So, for anyone who's looking for just a fun one-shot, couple of hours D&D thing to listen to, The Adventure Zone's Dadlands is the McElroys plus, I've completely forgotten his name. He's the host of Dropout's D&D show, Dimension 20. I've completely forgotten his name, I feel bad about that, but, it's set in a world ruled by different tribes of dad stereotype. And they're basically trying to retrieve the TV remote so they can all watch Mythbusters on the giant TV in the sky.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. They've got to rescue the remote from the craft dads who have built their big treehouse homes.
Oh, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Brennan Lee Mulligan, thank you. Yeah, it is one of my favourite silly self-contained D&D one-shots I've ever heard. It's so goofy.
It's so goofy, so very McElroy.
Yeah, it was really good, and I was really impressed at how well Brennan's style of DMing worked with the rest of the McElroys as
Yeah.
players. They gelled really well. I would like to see more of that combination of people.
I would like to see, like, another campaign in the Dadlands
Oh,
universe.
I would totally take a whole campaign
Like,
in the Dadlands world.
Somebody has touched the thermostat and they have
Oh.
to go out.
Goodness. Yeah, I think there's a few you could do with that.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
The newspaper hasn't been arriving the last couple of days.
Where are my slippers?
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. I think that you could have some good Dadlands one-shots.
And I love the way they managed to do it, but without, like, in that good McElroy way of avoiding, like, any trappings, really, of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I've thought about what alternative storylines could I use to play a Dadlands game with people. Yeah, the thermostat is the obvious one. I might try and put together a thermostat Dadlands campaign. Because I think there's some fun ground to play around in before the McElroys go and do another one and I can't do the thermostat story.
Well, I would be very up for playing that. You listen to anything else?
I've got, I think, at least one other song I listened to this week.
Mhm.
There was a track, I think this was the last one I listened to. I listened to a track called To Kill a Sunrise by a band called Escape from the Zoo. It's
As
super...
opposed to Tequila Sunrise.
Yes, To Kill a Sunrise. It's super fast ska
Ooh.
about not wanting to waste your life obsessing over how we're all slowly dying. Life's chaos and we all stumbled and lucked into it, so just embrace the chaos and do all the things you want to do while you have the time. With this sort of very fast, upbeat ska. It's a fun track. I think that's everything I've listened to.
I listened to a couple of other things.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it's nearly election season in the UK. We're coming up for a general election.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting a lot. So I just put into YouTube "fuck the Tories" and found a couple of like quite angry punk tracks.
Both of these tracks were great.
They were just what I needed in that moment of. I just need someone to angrily shout about the Tories for me to externalise some of my feelings.
Honestly, today there was some news about the Tories and the NHS, and I went back and played both of these today because I needed it.
So the first track was Riot Squad, "Fuck the Tories," which I believe is from like '82, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that. It was good.
It's just good, really angry,
Fuck the
raw
Tories.
punk. It's the kind of punk where it's like, it doesn't matter if we're not particularly great at playing our instruments, we'll hide it under distortion and screaming.
And being angry about the right sorts of things.
Yeah, and just like very simple, repetitive lyrics that are just anthemic, I think was the word you used for them.
Yeah.
It's very like, here is a core sentence, just keep angrily shouting that.
Yeah.
Fuck the Tories.
Fuck the Tories. The other track is by Oi Polloi, called "Fuck Everybody Who Voted Tory."
Yeah.
And that's an interesting one because it starts off with like a femme-sounding Scottish person speaking, like talking about was it in 1979 Labour government was brought down by the failure to grant even limited autonomy to Scotland,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a few paragraphs of like
It's a spoken word history lesson about shitty things the Tories have done.
and about them sort of coming to power, in 79, and the chaos that was caused thereafter.
Yeah.
And then it's like a masked vocalist who's much more angry.
It's like, now that we've got the facts out there, fuck everyone who voted Tory.
fuck everybody, you voted Tory.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's how I've been feeling this week.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I feel like of those two tracks, Fuck the Tories is the one that I need right now in the lead up to the election. If the Tories happen to get voted back in,
Oh,
I'm
please
going
don't
to
say
need
that.
fuck everyone who voted Tory.
I don't think I can cope.
I don't think I could cope either, but.
Should we, that's, time for this?
Time for this.
Mm.
Arr.
You, want some of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, the sugar industry, right?
Yeah.
You know how, like, they managed to convince everyone that fat was the issue, because you have the sugar, you get fatter, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
they were
it,
like,
yeah.
it's right there in the word, and it's fat.
Yeah.
That's why you get fat, and not the sugar. Don't
Yeah.
look at us.
See, that's not even a conspiracy. That's just a fact.
That is a fact, right? But there's something deeper, more sinister.
There's a conspiracy behind the fact.
A conspiracy behind the fact, behind the conspiracy, a conspiracy within a conspiracy, conspiracyception, right?
Is it a conspiracy sandwich?
Yeah. But that sandwich is made on bread that is basically just sugar. Like American bread, yeah?
Oh, you're making me hungry now.
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah.
help me get hungry as well. No, it's, yeah, add some of that, yeah. So, the sugar industry, yeah,
Yeah.
they're secretly propped up by a shadowy cabal of dentists, yeah.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep themselves, like, in as much business as possible by getting everyone into sugar, by putting sugar in all the things, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like everything has got more sugar in it, like all the Christmas drinks.
Yeah.
Like they just shovel like a bag of sugar,
Yeah.
bit of chocolate flavouring on there, stick it in the microwave. That's it. That's your hot winter drink right there. It's just all sugar.
Just make sure I can drill more teeth more.
Exactly. It's like I heard they're making super sugars that will melt your teeth quicker. And also, those same dentists are the one keeping the cost of dental work right up, yeah?
Yeah.
Because once they've got your teeth, then they can charge you whatever they want for, like, a root canal, or a filling, or anything like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still gonna have sugar though, it's good.
Yeah, do you want a donut?
Oh, okay, right, I'll go for a donut.
Hey, kitty. Oh, hey, kitty. You're very snuggly. Oh, what's up?
Woman.
What's up, kitty pal?
Wow, woman, you're not having enough snuggles and warms. It's the cold time of year, and I've been doing all the warm snugglings.
You're
But
sorry to once.
you've had no warm snugglings. I'm afraid you're gonna die because it's the cold time. Human.
Oh, thank you for all these snuggles. That you are very warm, kitty pal.
Go warm you up or you're gonna die. And then we'll do the bee.
Yeah, got me. I nearly just went straight into Laura, got a new sponsor. And what I meant to say was questions, Sam. It's time for questions.
What's the question?
This week's question, some Crimson. As in Crimson.
Hello.
What was a recent moment where you were really, really happy?
Other than like 10 minutes ago when I was talking about sports anime. What was a good one of those moments? The other weekend when I got to go and hang out with my friends and we had that nice time in the hotel and we just had a nice night getting drunk together and being friends and talking about how much we love each other.
I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. It was the I think it was out somewhere, possibly at the beginning of the year when we were out raving.
Yeah.
And we had one of those 3 a.m. like really long hugs.
Oh, yeah.
Just that recharge with hug.
Yeah. One
Like
of those hugs
really
where it's...
good, it's just
Yeah.
all the oxytocin. All of the oxytocin.
Yeah, one of those hugs.
That was a good hug. Good standing hug. Good heart to heart there. Yeah, those are the good ones. Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
How do? What if can't do?
What I can't do?
What if can't do?
Isn't the saying, what if can't do, teach?
Those who can't do too.
I'm being silly.
What if can't do? I don't know. Try something else. Try the same thing.
Yeah, try something else, or try that thing differently, or just try it again and try
Try
harder.
to help.
Yeah.
Maybe that thing's not for you. Maybe try looking at things a different way and try a different way. It depends how you feel about the thing. Kenadry. Hi, Kenadry.
Hi.
Do you have any interest in extra long / dense board games, e.g. Diplomacy, Twilight Imperium, Warhammer, etc.?
I love them in theory.
I'd love to play Twilight Imperium. I've heard a lot about it. Like, I think the 4th edition is the most recent one. Looks interesting, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to spend like a day doing that. Like, I feel like Scythe's quite a long game. Maybe
Yeah.
not as long as Twilight Imperium, but
Maybe, but like, I feel like we could probably get a group of like me, you, Colin, and Liam. I think.
Colin, Liam, Tor.
Yeah, I think we could get together a big like. Here is the game. We are playing it all day. Get here early.
Yeah. And I think Twilight Imperium would probably be good for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Never played it myself. Hear good things about it. War for the Ring, I think, is another big long one. That looks quite interesting. I've heard good things about that from the Shut Up and Sit Down podcast. I think Star Wars Rebellion's quite a long game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind giving that a try. That's 2-player asymmetrical.
I'm not trying any of these.
Wow. Maybe if I win those competitions for I think I entered a competition recently to try and win Rebellion and Twilight Imperium. So
Wow.
it would be nice.
If we win the lottery, maybe.
Maybe Gloomhaven? Wouldn't mind giving that a try.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a huge. I pointed that out to you. I think.
Yeah.
That thing. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a big ass box.
Is there any games that you jump at the opportunity to play if you had no time, monetary, or player count restrictions? I'd love to play a mega game. They sound really interesting.
Yeah.
What else?
The ones where you need like 50 people plus
Yeah,
to.
I'd love to play more regular games of Scythe.
Yeah.
We don't own a copy. We play with like local friends who've got a copy. But yeah, like I would love to play more
Well, yeah,
Scythe.
we've played it like 3 times this year, but I think we would play more of it.
Mm-hmm. Arachnoval. Hi, Arachno. Did you get your Spinnerack, friend? Was it Spinnerack?
Joltik.
Joltik. I knew it was a spider,
Yeah.
because it's arachno.
Spinarak was a spider Pokemon.
Yay.
It's just a different spider Pokemon.
I know my Pokemon.
Yeah.
If you had the chance, would you take a trip into outer space? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to stay there forever.
Because I don't want to live on the moon.
I don't want to live on the moon. Cue Sesame Street music.
Maybe. I wouldn't mind heading up and doing a wait list.
I spent most of my childhood fantasizing about space.
I'd like to see the Earth from space.
Yeah,
Possibly one trip in my face.
it's apparently a very
Humbling
moment of, oh, he's just a marble. Oh no.
Literally everything I've known in my entire life exists on that thing in front of me.
Yeah. Apparently it just changes something in you.
I can imagine. Even in VR, it was quite a special moment. And at the moment, I think that's probably the only way I will see it, because I'm not sure I'm fit enough to go into space.
No,
I'd love the opportunity, but
If I had the infinite money, there'd be a part of me that would go, okay, put me on one of those commercial spaceships so that I can go see space for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at the Earth and go, oh fuck, I'm very far away. Oh, it's very far away.
So far away.
Oh no.
My Ford Capri is blue and there's nothing I can do.
Oh gosh. You're making me want to listen to I Don't Want to Live on the Moon again now.
Aww. Well, we know what's going to be next week's listen.
Probably,
Abstract Slug, Conduit of Disaster. That's a cool name. How does one cast from a pod? How large is the pod? And is likely or even possible?
I think the pod we're currently in is
Let's see, it's about 10 foot by.
Oh, you
Maybe about the
considering the
same.
whole room as the pod?
Are you talking
I
about?
was looking at the wicker section.
within
that
the
we're in.
wicker section of the room.
Yeah, so maybe 4 foot?
4 foot by maybe 6 foot.
Yeah, 4 foot by 6 foot, the pod size. How does one cast from a pod? You throw your words into this cylinder in front of us,
Ooh.
and then you throw it along some cables until it reaches the internet.
Yeah, and then people download it.
Yeah. People throw their fishing poles in to see if they can catch the cast from the pod.
See? That is how pod do.
That is how pod do.
Tricky. Hi, Tricky. Which aspects of British culture do you least and most identify with? I least identify with the rampant xenophobia and racism.
Yeah, there's that. Or you could put in with that, football culture.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
The heavy drinking.
Yeah. What ones do we identify with? I identify with being part of a nation of polite queuers. I am a polite queuer. I
I'm
stand
polite
in
queuer.
line and wait my turn.
Oh, someone pushed in front of me in Poundland earlier.
Oh.
Naturally, I didn't say anything. I just glared.
Yeah, but that is the British way.
Exactly.
You say nothing, but inside you feel the fury of 1,000 burning suns.
Exactly. I loomed slightly behind them because they're considerably shorter than me.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Always opening conversations with discussions of the weather.
It's one of the few things I feel is a comfortable subject.
Yes.
As someone who struggles with social
Indeed,
anxiety.
it's a socially acceptable safety topic that doesn't rely on you sharing an area of common interest.
Weather's happening again, isn't it?
Yep. The weather sure is the weather that it is.
Sure, it sure is the weather today, is it not, friend?
If it's anything but perfect, wouldn't it be nicer if we had a bit more of that perfect weather?
See how I socially interact with you
Yeah.
on a level such as another human being. mate.
Also, cups of tea.
Yeah, I enjoy tea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good tea drinkers.
Good tea drinkers. I enjoy a tea. Least, yeah, I think those are I think they've covered all of those.
Hmm.
Complaining whether it's too hot or too cold.
Oh yeah, the weather is never good.
No, our houses aren't designed for it.
Our houses aren't designed for any weather.
Oh, and as Becky quite rightfully pointed out, we don't appreciate a meat raffle.
Apparently we don't appreciate a meat raffle.
No, I think it's a ridiculous idea. Speaking of Becky, hi Becky.
Hi. Mwah.
Why are safety sit boxes not standard furniture?
Safety boxes.
Just like if it fits, it sits.
I mean, is a house not just a big safety box?
I think yes. I know what she means though.
Yeah.
Like, when I was little, I used to sort of get inside a cupboard and just sit there like all curled
Oh,
up.
I totally agree. Like,
I was usually hiding from my parents.
I used to be a big fan of my parents' house that you've been to.
Yes.
In the like downstairs toilet.
Oh yeah.
In
Bang my head on that
in
ceiling.
there,
Oh.
there is another tiny doorway that goes into a cupboard under the stairs. And that is a great place to curl up with a big duvet and like just a little snuggly hidey hole away from the world.
And then someone comes in and has a really nasty shit. In there.
Well, yeah, there's that. It's not a practical hidey hole.
Use
But...
the upstairs one. I'm having a hidey.
Okay. To be, what I used to do is I had a bunk bed and there were like drawers. There were drawers under it, but there was probably a person-sized section at the back. So like if you went down to the foot of the bed and look, there was a person-sized hole that you could just sort of take a nice blanket and snuggle in and be like, I'm just going to hide in this little section under the bed. Wriggle in here. Good hidey holes are good. Nooks.
I like enjoy a nook
Yeah.
and a cranny.
Oh.
Callum Santa, hi Callum.
Hi.
Is there a part of your daily, weekly routine that was initially more of a chore, but now you enjoy it and miss when it can't be done?
Honestly, doing the washing up has become that. It's been a nice get some things in order, have a nice chance to listen to a podcast, and as a bit of my routine that's like, okay, work is done. I'm doing the houseworky things now because work is finished. Like it's the job that in my head now marks the difference between being in the office
day.
working and it's finish time. You?
I can't think of one.
That's fair.
There is work things, which is work things, and there is more work things.
That's fair.
That's more work
It's
things.
the one that is the last job of my day has therefore become one that I quite look forward to.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Crimson / vote Labour. Quite right too.
Yeah.
If you could only have one game console, what would it be? SNES.
I feel like PC is a cheating answer.
It's not a console.
Yeah. The SNES is a really good pick. I might say the Wii,
Ooh.
if for no other reason than it had a really, really, really robust set of offerings on the Virtual Console.
Nice.
Like, I think it's probably the console that would give me the widest variety of, like, retro games to play. Plus, there was some, like, stuff decidedly for it that I loved.
Yeah, didn't it have like Commodore 64 games on it? As
Yeah,
well?
there were Commodore 64 games. I think there were Spectrum games at one point.
What?
I think there were some
I
Spectrum
missed
games
that.
on there.
I know
yeah,
there
you
were
had-
like TurboGrafx 16
Yeah.
games on it.
You had your N64, your NES, your SNES.
Yeah, you make a good point. And it had Ocarina and Majora's Mask
Well,
on it.
that's it. Like, it has access to some of my all-time favourite games. You can play GameCube games on it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that basically cheats and gives me access to most things I would want from the first, 20 years of gaming.
I don't think you're going to win on that one. Yeah, I will also go with a Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Lollipop Twink, hi Echo. What's your favourite thing from a Chinese takeaway?
Oh, it's battered sweet and sour chicken balls.
Oh.
Yeah, just a ball of chicken and batter.
Yeah, I used to love the sweet and sour chicken balls or the prawn balls.
I've never been a prawn person, but there needs to be a Chinese that does a good vegan battered fake chicken ball. Like that's that. Oh, I would kill for
That
it.
would be good. That would be good. I used to love chicken chow mein, so I guess my answer now would be like a tofu chow mein or just a vegetable chow mein.
Yeah,
I like chow mein.
chow mein.
Chow mein. Horny on the chow mein.
Oh, I feel like that's a skit waiting to be born.
Or I've just awoken someone's kick they had. Noodles, you say?
Mm.
They are like tiny.
Canoodling.
They are like. Oh.
So they are like tiny tentacles. Tiny wheat tentacles. I love to do Molinaro. It says, hi, what is your favourite kind of architecture?
Ooh. Do you have an answer for this?
Got a couple of answers.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
quite like brutalism,
Yeah,
but I have to be in the right mood for it.
Yes.
Alternatively, I really like those sort of, like, Tudor cottages.
Yeah, you've gone for the two things that I was thinking. I was like, how do I phrase these things I'm thinking of? Like a little Tudor thatched cottage.
Yeah, like with the beams,
Yeah,
all the
with
nice beams,
the
and,
beams,
the
yeah.
dark wood and the light
The,
bit between.
the thatched roof is a must.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Like I can occasionally like really enjoy a good bit of brutalist architecture,
Yeah.
but like you got to be ready to take that in.
Yeah, you've got to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Maggie J. Evans would like to know, hi, if you could have a Switch Lite or a Switch that was never undocked, which would you choose? Never undocked Switch. Thank you very much.
What, you'd be a TV only
Yeah.
Switch user?
I barely play my Switch undocked. Although, like, the only time I seriously played my Switch undocked is when my dock was fucked.
If I had to make that choice, I would go Switch Lite. Okay, I can tell you the only thing that makes me hesitant about a Switch Lite.
Detachable Joy-Cons.
Detachable Joy-Cons, and even then, it's only because of Joy-Con drift being a thing. I couldn't go, my Joy-Con has started to drift.
I'm going to have to send my whole console
Yes.
back.
If Joy-Con drift in this scenario could be fixed, like, here's the thing, I love having my Switch on the telly, but mainly because of Pokemon, I play it so much as a handheld. It's my... I've got a video exporting on the thing here, and I'm answering some emails, and I just want to plod around in circles a bit doing my catching Pokemon. And it would be a real shame that I couldn't capture footage anymore,
Yeah.
but I love that it is a powerful handheld.
I have barely touched my Switch in months.
You played through Deadly Premonition not too long back.
Apart from that. Like, it had been a long time before I touched it before that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Before that was probably...
Streets of Red?
Yeah, Dragon Quest Builders 2 was one
Yeah, that
this
was
year.
way at the beginning of the year, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if I can point you at any things that you might enjoy maybe on Switch.
I don't know. I keep occasionally sort of looking at the shop and just going,
I don't know. What have I got on here that I will probably play at some point soon? What Switch things do I have? I picked up Trover Saves the Universe because I'd been meaning to get around to that, and I feel like I will have a better chance of doing so on Switch. Evoland, which is a game that I've wanted to replay for a bit. It's a little top-down RPG where it moves through different graphic styles as you progress through the
I
game.
think I've got Evoland 1 and 2 on PC.
Yeah. Luigi's Mansion 3 I really enjoyed.
Ring Fit.
Ring Fit, yeah. Tangle Tower, which is a sort of point-and-click adventure detective game that I've been really enjoying. It's got a really lovely, like, drawn art style.
You have Resident Evil 5.
I have a demo for Resident Evil 5.
I was going to say.
I downloaded a demo out of pure curiosity of how does it run.
How does it run?
It's better than I expected. Like, I don't really have a huge interest in playing through it. We do need to play co-op Cat Quest 2. Cat Quest 2 is out. We need to play it together at some point. Is that going to be what gets you back on Switch? Some Cat Quest 2? Maybe.
I mean, Cat Quest was alright, but it was a bit mobile gamey.
That's fair. I think you'd really enjoy Sayonara Wild Hearts. I need to just hand you my Switch at some point and go, here you go.
Oh.
It's only like an hour long, so... Yeah, I've been finding stuff to play.
Oh.
But I'm sorry that nothing's been catching your attention.
I think I'm just waiting for Breath of the Wild 2, really.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just and small plush Freb, what love. And then it ran out of space. That's a great name. Hi. Do you fit? And if so, do you sit?
I don't know if I fit, but if I fit, I do sits.
I do. I've put on quite a lot of weight this year, so I think the less frequent times that I do fits, I will sit.
Yeah.
As long as it's comfortable, because I'm old and I've got bad knees.
Oh no.
Hayley. Hi, Hayley.
Hi.
Favourite tea?
Ooh. I have a cupboard full of loose leaf teas that
You
I
do?
enjoy. My favourite one, I think, is one that is a green tea with apple, cinnamon, and blueberry. Oh, it's a real nice
Which one's
one.
that?
I think that's the Princess Zelda. It might be, or it's one of the.
The two I've been
No.
making you most recently have been the Link one, the Hero of Hyrule,
Yes.
and the Ray one.
Oh
Ray?
yes, the Ray. Oh, the Ray one's really good. Yeah, I enjoy a lot of like green tea with some fruit flavors added in.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I like just like normal,
Just a everyday breakfast
normal
tea.
everyday tea. I used to drink like Twinings every day, but then Becky got upset because I kept leaving the tea bag in. And being Northern, she's very specific about tea. So now I just drink. I think it's like Sainsbury's red tea,
Yeah,
red brand tea, or whatever it's called.
yeah.
But yeah, some tea. Is that everyone? That is everyone. Thank you very much for your questions.
Thank you.
Well then, time for this. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warriors.
Social justice warriors.
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Barry. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
How's everything been going for you?
Well, you know, it's nearly voting season, so that's traumatising.
That is a depressing mess right now.
It is, you
A
know.
huge weight weighing upon all of our souls.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's I think it's genuinely starting to make me feel a bit unwell. To be honest,
same. I'm feeling run down. I'm feeling physically a bit nauseous.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with this time of year, full stop. But you know, particularly, I think with all the voting stuff at the moment, the endless stories that come out about what the Tories are up to, and
Yeah, well, you know, we've known for a while that, like, they clearly want to sell off the NHS to the Americans, and
yeah.
but now that's officially a thing that we know, you know,
Yeah.
not just a thing that we knew.
I mean,
but
we knew it, but now everyone knows.
it's out in the air now, and that should be fucking terrifying. It's
Yeah.
terrified me. I'm sure it's terrifying you.
I mean, I'm constantly terrified anyway, but yes, particularly because of this. I mean, it's your worst fears coming true. Everything you knew. I can only live in hope that perhaps it will be what tips the working class Tory voters over the edge of going, hey, maybe they're not on our side.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the Tories could strip away pretty much everything else that this country has, and I think we'd survive. It wouldn't be good, but we'd survive. But I think the NHS is one of the few beautiful things this country has that,
Yeah.
you know, if it goes away, lives will be on the line. People will die if it goes. But
Absolutely.
it is a luxury that I've been able to grow up in a country where if I break an arm, I don't have to worry about calling an ambulance and going to the hospital. You know, no matter what, I don't have to worry about that. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's not going to put me permanently in debt.
Indeed, I'm not going to be like, oh, got to remortgage my parents' house because I don't know, fell off a tree or something.
I'm not going to, get involved in some kind of accident and be like, no, don't call me an ambulance, I can't afford it.
I'll get an Uber, it'll be
I'll
fine.
get the bus, because that's all I can manage.
Yeah, or like, you know, if you look at America, it's terrifying the sort of situations that exist. You could get shot by a police officer and it not be your fault, and you get left with a bill. Like, that's a terrifying situation.
Yeah.
Like, in America...
Especially how gung-ho they are with their weaponry
Yeah.
over there.
Well, like, on top... One of the things that always gets me is, if you have a child in America, you can get charged money to hold your child after they're born. Like, that's terrifying. Like,
For how long?
immediately after the birth, like, you know,
Oh, right.
during that skin-to-skin they've just been born moment.
Right,
They'll charge you
yeah.
extra for
Sorry, I
that.
thought you were like, once they've got home.
No, just while you're in the hospital, they've just been born, do you want to hold them? Okay, that's an extra 50 quid.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know the story, I actually understand it's considering more than 50 quid.
well, yeah, okay, more so than that, but
Either way, it's disgusting.
it's disgusting.
And that's the sort of thing that we can potentially look forward to if the Tories remain in power.
Exactly, like, healthcare that is for all of the flaws with the
Free at point of
NHS.
use.
Free at point of use healthcare is a miraculous thing that I would be terrified to live without. And
Yeah.
like, regardless of all of your opinions on everything else that the various political parties hold dear, please just look at this and go, this is not a time to vote on principle for whichever small party you necessarily think has on paper the best idea. We need a vote to get the Tories out.
Yeah.
Because the Tories are going to kill people.
I mean, they're already killing people.
Yeah.
We have 183 people, children becoming homeless a week, I understand.
Yeah.
We've got, the number of, was it 120,000 benefits deaths as a result of universal credit coming in. Like, the Tories have been murdering, or as I've been putting it for years, the Tories have been attempting to cull the poor for a considerable amount of time.
Indeed.
And it's just going to get worse if you keep allowing them into a position of
Yeah.
power.
Seriously, I don't think people realise quite how big a deal it would be if you accidentally cut off the tip of your thumb doing DIY and suddenly couldn't just go straight to A&E and know it will be fine.
Yeah,
That you would have to stop and do, can I afford to get this fixed?
yeah. Are you gonna then? More people are gonna die because you're gonna have people who will sit on things for too long because they
Yeah.
are concerned they won't be able to afford it. Like earlier this summer, like the amount of stuff that needed to happen when I had that heart problem.
Yeah.
Like those tests would have been just prohibitively expensive. Like I would never have been able to get lower surgery a few years before that. I wouldn't have been able to sort out my kidney function a few years before that when that was an issue.
Yeah.
The number of times I've had ear problems, that would have I've had 3 surgeries on my ears.
As a super clumsy fucker, I have had to have my head stitched up multiple times because I just fall over and I hit stuff because my body doesn't understand where it is some of the time.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, we might as well both learn a bit of suturing ourselves and try and patch each other up, because we can't fucking afford to go to hospital if this comes. Especially, it's not just people who work in business, because perhaps there is a chance that people who work for larger companies will have an option for, medical assistance through that, like healthcare, like they have health insurance that comes with as a perk of the job. But then you have other people who are like freelancers, for example.
Yeah, exactly. People like myself who works in freelance. I can't afford to pay private healthcare costs.
No, your employee of one would very much struggle in that situation.
Yeah, and there is always in that situation the temptation to go, oh, do I really need to be spending that much money every month, etc. And
Yeah,
that is a very bad road to go down.
absolutely, mate.
Oh,
Should we have that hug?
I need it.
Yeah, same. Good hug, mate. Good hug.
Good luck.
Shall we put the kettle on?
Yeah, have that cup of tea.
Nice.
Laura!
Yes.
Where can we find you on the internet, darling?
Laura K. Buzz in all the places. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. If you can consider chucking me $1 a month or more on Patreon, that really helps to keep this being a thing. You can find everything I publish on laurakbuzz.com, be that written articles, videos, podcasts, you name it. I did a couple of articles this most recent week. One about features in the Let's Go Pokemon games that I wish had been carried over to Sword and Shield. I did one about the phrase trans rights as just an isolated phrase, and how I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but maybe we could hope for the conversation to move beyond that eventually. I was quite proud of both of those. You can find my books that exist. There's Uncomfortable Labels, which is a book about being gay and trans and on the autism spectrum, and you can find that where books are sold, or as an audiobook on laurakbuzzstore.com. And there is Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, which is a comedy critique video game
it's an illustrated coffee table book of video game character butt reviews. It's going to be available in shops in October 2020. Probably a bit earlier if you support it on Unbound if you want it first. And then there's podcasts. Pixel Squirt, I review video game pornography with Mari and Stacey from Geek Remix. Podquisition, where me and Jim and Conrad Zimmerman talk about video games and whether they're great or perfect, and also political thoughts. And there's Dice Funk, which is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Each season's a self-contained story. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6. Gosh, season 6 is getting a lot to record at the moment. What about you, Jane?
Me, I'm
Meow.
Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube. That's JANEIAC. I'm also on soundcloud.com/JaneArisMagnet, where you might be listening to this now. I'm also on Twitch. I stream twice a week as Janiac, and that's Tuesdays and Thursdays around sort of 7:45 UK time on Thursdays, and whatever time we finish recording this on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Usually about 9:30, 10 o'clock. By the time I'm all set up. I'm also on paypal.me/JaneMagnet if you fancy sending me a one-off to help pay my bills. Or patreon.com/DomeFunkyRadio, where you can join these lovely people who I'm going to thank now. Math Tiger asks, what is 280.46 times 1.5? It's 420.69. Thank you to Jaden, Cassiopeia Swift, Tallulah, Callum, Muscle Stop Trying to Steal My Name Turner, Sneck Kearney, the Christmas Sneck, Jay Logan, Conduit of Quinness, Mage of Life, Larry Yelling Envy, Tales of Inquiry, Robin Anton, Kelladry is thankful for her spirit-bound and awe-inspiring Mitzi. Mitzi is a very cute cat. Rob Cube Conqueror, Jurgen Indie Monster Weinrich Ferde, Conduit of Name Butchering, and Basin is back. So thank you very much to them. Where else am I? I think that's everywhere. So then, Laura,
Yeah.
you sing us out, darling.
Until next time, be a stranger.
I will.
I got hit with a case of the sleepies.
No, it was supposed to be blackcurrant.
No,
Not
you
sleepy
you
bitch.
poured me a glass of sleepy bitch juice.